So, guys, if you've been wondering why Soludo does not want to support Peter Obi's presidential bid, I think you are going to get some clue from this video that I want to share with you guys. So, we all know that during the last Anambra State governorship election, Peter Obi did not support Soludo. Rather, Peter Obi had his own governorship candidate. And since then, there has been this, will I say, a clash between the two of them. But we all know that Peter Obi is a peace-loving man. He has visited Soludo in government house just to tell him that this is just, politics. It shouldn't, destroy our relationship as brothers. Peter Obi has shown that, that love to Soludo. But I think Soludo is the type that he appears not to easily forgive or forget. So I think because of all the things that happened during that election, that is why, some of these things are happening now. He's trying to stand against Peter Obi. So I want you to watch this video and see if you are going to pick one or two things, from this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please, if you're an obedient out there, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Show me love by subscribing and turning on the notification bell. And if you have not joined the obedient family, tell me what you are waiting for. Who else stands out if not Peter Obi? Peter Obi is an outstanding candidate. You can't compare him with any of the other candidates who are aspiring for this presidential post. So join the obedient family and let us all come together to vote for Peter Obi come 2023 election. So let me allow you to watch this video and let me know what you think in the comment section.
Joining us to give us their thoughts on the promises made by the candidates during the debate are former Governor Peter Obi of Anambra State, Senator Victor Omer, former National Chairman of APGA, and Chibuza Obiako, a member of the APC and board member of the Federal Road Safety Corps. The three gentlemen will also be speaking to us on the forthcoming governorship election in the state. Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us. Well, I will start with former Governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi. Good morning. Thank you for joining us once again. So I'll start with a general overview from your perspective on the debate and how it went, how the issues were addressed, and lastly, who won, in your opinion?
Well, good morning, and thanks for inviting me. For me, it's not about who won or who didn't won. For me, it's about the quality and the behaviors and conduct of those involved in the debate. The debate is about selling their programs. That was what they were supposed to focus on. Selling their programs, trying to tell Anambra State people what they will do if they become a governor and everything. But it turned out that some of them started questioning other people's, for example, let me be specific. Professor Soludo questioning Andy Uba's degree or his educational background, for me, it was off limits. That didn't come into focus, and Andy Uba is not applying to be a lecturer, a teacher in a school. We have great leaders who have never been to college. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and of course John Major, and I can go on and everything. What is important about leadership is, do we have a leader that is A, visionary, have the character, behavior to serve his people, are compassionate about the problems of society, above all, willingness to manage the resources of the state efficiently and effectively. That is what is lacking in Nigeria, management of our resources. And that's what I wanted them to sell, that we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. It's a state I've served. Not equal to questioning people's educational qualification as much as I believe in education, and I will invest anything in it, does not guarantee, it's not a measure of integrity, it's not a measure of good character, it's not a measure of good behavior, and these are things you need from a leader. A leader must be an exemplary person at all times, even in midst of provocation or anything. He must be able to be somebody who is patient, tolerant, and understanding.
Right. You said that there were a lot of attacks. What's your reaction to the answers they gave on the issues? So take, for instance, a lot of people said they were not convinced as regards the approach to solve the problem of erosion in the states, the gully erosion and the ecological problem. What's your reaction to the answers they gave? In fact, one of the candidates just said, I'll plant trees, and that's the solution.
Let me tell you, as a governor, we found out, I particularly found out that the state cannot solve the issue of erosion. I'm just dealing with erosion, and even issue of dealing with other ecological problems and flooding problem. We approach the federal government of Nigeria, engage my colleagues in the Southeast, and we approach the federal government of Nigeria. That is what you saw today that they call New Map. New Map was originated by me, involving in the Southeast governors, and we went to Fiaradua, discussing with him, got the federal government involved to help us to be able to raise a long-term non-interest loan from one bank. And one bank agreed to fund our ecological problems for a non-interest loan of about 40 years. And that is what you need to solve the problem. And we started immediately as a state, to save money in dollars. So when you saw our dollar saving, it was three components. One was to help us to fight poverty by supporting SMEs from the year 2030. The other one was to fund repayment of our loan of our new map, which will help us to solve the ecological problem. The other component was to help us to pay the loan we're supposed to get to fund STEM education, science, technology, of course, engineering and mathematics education, which we embarked on. So, for me, there's already something there that they need to manage efficiently.
So I wanted to talk about insecurity. The debate lingered on that topic quite a bit, understandably. And there we found agreement across the board about the importance of dialogue with the various stakeholders. Obviously, specific varies, but they all agreed on the importance of dialogue and really stressed that. What's your take on that, and what would you like to see happen going forward on the issue of insecurity?
Well, whenever we talk about security, for me, security is local. So you first start from the community. What needs to be done is very simple, and we did it in the past. Fund and support vigilante groups in all the communities. Provide them logistics like vehicles and communication gadgets, and then move beyond there to fund appropriately the security agencies, provide them things like armored vehicles, armored pickups, and everything. If you support them aggressively, it's been done past in the state, and then with the other agitators and everything, like they all agreed, discuss and dialogue with them. It's been done in the past. It's past, but you have to be in complete control, and you have to work with everybody in the Southeast together. They have to work as a family. We have had problems of insecurity in the Southeast when we had kidnapping of all sorts, armed robbery of all sorts, but we was able to surmount it. Then we have known criminals all over the place, which I've mentioned in my various interviews, coming from Enugu, the one living here, going to everything. But we have been able to deal with it by effectively in the Southeast working as a family, in the state, ensuring that all communities are properly secured.
Right,
Security is critical.
Okay. Let's quickly pick your brain on the issues of the economy and unemployment. In fact, there were discrepancies as regards the number of unemployment rates in the state. There was a challenge back by Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo and all of that. What's the state of unemployment in Anambra State?
Well, reality is that his position on unemployment in Anambra State is correct. Even when it is worse now, actually, because unemployment in 2012, 2013 in Anambra State is about 10%. Now it's 13 point something, so it's actually worse now. If you can look at it, when then Minister of Planning, Usman Samsudin, launched what they called our GDP recalculation. He launched it in the Southeast one in Anambra State in 2012. If I remember, I think it was about May. And he said the reason why he's launching it here in Anambra State is that Anambra State have shown very careful management of resources that is exemplary, and that we have the lowest unemployment rate. And this is because of a combination of so many factors. Because listen to some of them, yes, they're talking about industrial parks and attracting people to come back. Of course, if you go, we rebuilt the industrial park in Onitsha. And Jonathan came there to commission 5 factories in one day. 5 factories in one day. International breweries built their first factory. You can see a new brand in there. Orange Drugs. There's one by, I can't remember the name, but 5 in one day. It was during that time that Innocent built his factory. Chikasin built his factory and extended same. Kutis extended same. So we built, for example, we built the road to Kutis factory, the road to Innocent's factory, the road to this thing, and of course, even in terms of patronage, we gave Innocent, he says it in everywhere, the patronage that made it possible for his industry to be there today. We paid him upfront for 1 year before he supplied us 1 car, and we bought 1,000 vehicles from him, our school buses, the vehicles for the traditional rulers, and about 300 security vehicles that we gave to all the communities, all the markets, all the churches. So when I talk about security, we provided churches, everybody. This is critical. So All they need is to continue. The economy of Anambra State is already private sector led. All you need is to continue to support the private sector. What Anambra needs is continuation of a direction that has already been moved when we moved Anambra State from home of, when we came, it was home for all. We moved it to light of the nation and followed it with a clear direction that if anybody had followed, we would have been exemplary today.
Well, Anambra will still get the chance to be exemplary, I'm certain. You've just addressed fact-checking, which is one of those totems of post-mortems of every political debate. And the second is that there is a winner. After every debate I've ever followed, there's some kind of poll. That was your chance to sell your candidate of PDP, which you failed to grasp. So I'll present it in a different way. I'll talk about PDP and how PDP was presented. Your candidate in PDP, Valentine Ozigbo, did a good job of presenting himself as young, fresh, trendy, he even used that word, as opposed to the baggage being carried by APGA, which has incumbency on its side, and also as a sort of detraction, being the incumbent, and also APC being the ruling party, and he emphasized what he perceives to be failures of APC at the center, which in his mind affect the current candidate of the APC, and that PDP is fresh. However, it was pointed out at the debate that PDP has a legacy in Anambra, which is quite unsavory. So what are your thoughts on how PDP can position themselves and how PDP has in fact positioned himself in the run-up to the elections on Saturday?
There's something the candidate said when they talked about PDP, said it's PDP of the past. That the PDP of today is different. So if you look at it, it's very simple. I was in APGA yesterday, I'm in PDP today, and he is in PDP today. The two other gentlemen that were there were in PDP of yesterday. They were in PDP when PDP did all the wrong they did in Anambra State. When PDP was not paying salaries and schools were shut down. They were in PDP when the assets of the states were burnt. Both of them were actually in the presidency. They said it yesterday. They used to sleep with the president. When I started as governor, there was no government house. There was no governor's lodge. There was no state assembly. Even Dorakoye, where they did interview yesterday, were all burnt down. They were all rebuked by me. So where the governor lives now was rebuked by me, both in Aka and Onitsha. The government's house today was rebuked by me. There was no secretariat. It was me who built secretariat of Anambra State. The Dorakoye was rebuked by me. So all those things were rebuked by me while I was in APGA. And I even heard the APGA candidate saying that I did a good work on roads, but he was following APGA program, manifesto and APGA program. And I was shocked that thereafter, he was talking about his own program. I thought he would have said he would have gone on with the same APGA program. But he kept taking my program.
Okay, thank you so
much. The same thing happened with issue of why didn't the present governor now continue with that APGA program, where we have a state now that is virtually collapsed, no road, and you have all sorts of problems all over the place. I funded every school. I gave every school every year 10 million naira. Every secondary school. The primary schools that was funded with the church, for the past 8 years, nobody have given them 1 naira. No new bus, no new generator, no new computers across the state.
Okay, let's bring some other.
So where is the APGA program?
Okay, let's bring some other people in. Chibuzo Obiako is a member of the APC and board member of the Federal Road Safety Corps. If we have Chibuzo Obiako and is joining us. So I'd like to ask you, what's your take on the performance of the candidate of the APC, Andy Uba, yesterday? What was your take on his substance? Did he bring forward any solutions?
Good morning, and thank you for having me on the program. The performance yesterday was a resounding performance. It was a performance that Senator Andy Uba did based on the facts that are on the ground in Anambra State. So overall, one would have to score him very high for having done very well as far as the debate was concerned. Irrespective of the belligerence of Professor Charles Soludo in the process of the debate. And it was a lesson in rudeness and intrusion, listening and watching Professor Soludo interfere, even interfering during the questioning by the moderators of the debate. But Andy Uba did very well.
Right. I want a specific response to the incivility that we all witnessed yesterday. There really is no other word. How has the response of the candidate been looking back on what happened yesterday? I know he did throw in some jabs of his own, so he also is not entirely blameless. But how has he viewed his own performance? And do you feel that his performance, whatever points he was trying to communicate about his plans for Anambra, were completely obscured by the incivility that we witnessed?
There's definitely, there's no doubt that his antics obscured whatever points that he wanted to make. His Excellency, the former governor of Anambra State, Chief Peter Obi, was just on, and he said that they tried to claim his programs, and they were claiming the programs that he did. Those were facts. But watching Professor Soludo yesterday was a lesson in rudeness. It was a lesson in incivility. It was a lesson in arrogance. It was a lesson in the way not to behave, especially somebody of his caliber, somebody that parades the type of certificates and knowledge that he supposedly claims that he has. One has to actually think these days, how and when did he get those certificates? Because they do not teach that type of behavior in schools. I know that for sure, because I also went to school.
Your candidate, Senator Andy Uba, was asked, how would you solve the problem of erosion, which is one of the biggest ecological problems in this country, and your state ranks top? He said, I will plant trees. Do you think that was a fair enough answer?
Yes, it was. But we have to put it in context. If you look at Senator Andy Uba's manifesto, it says that the issue of erosion and environmental degradation that we have in Anambra State and other places in Nigeria, you have to have a multifaceted approach to that. One of that is what you call a pre-erosion approach and then a post-erosion approach. You do not wait until after the erosion to start making plans on what you're going to do. You have to start before the erosion starts. And that was what he meant when he said you will plant trees. Let me give you an example. The reason why we have so much erosion, one of the reasons why we have so much erosion in Anambra State and other places is because of the runoff of water that comes after the rains. But if you have trees, if you have plants, if you have grass, you will find out that the runoff will be less. And when that is less, it will then degrade the ground and the soil less. That is what Senator Andy Uba was referring to. He was actually speaking to the things that he wrote in his manifesto. And if you get a chance to look at the manifesto, you will see where he talked about pre-erosion approach to solving the issue of environmental degradation. So he was absolutely on point by saying he will plant trees. But he's not a man that talks, he's not a verbose person, so he will not go into or details like that, but what he meant was the pre-erosion approach to his management of erosion problems.
Well, he's certainly not verbose, but his critics have said of his performance in the debate that his responses were brief, monosyllabic even, compared to the other two gentlemen at their podiums who often ran out of time while they were trying to express or to explain their vision for Anambra. This would lead some to believe that he doesn't have the ideas because he cannot go into specifics at length. What is your response to that criticism?
No, that your summation will be wrong. What we are looking for in Anambra State is a leader. We are not looking for somebody to come and teach a class in economics or in erosion management or in financial management. What we need is a leader. And Anduba demonstrated that he is a leader. For somebody like Professor Soludo is a professor, he's a teacher, or was a teacher, the same thing as Mr. Val Ozibo, who was also in banking and then into tourism and entertainment. That is not Senator Anduba's line of work. He is a leader, and that is what we're looking for in Anambra State. A leader does not have to be very verbose. A leader does not have to talk as if he is teaching a class. A leader has to have ideas. He has to have vision. He has to project those visions and those ideas that he has. And then it is left to managers like Professor Soludo and Mr. Val Ozibo to go and manage the vision and the ideas that the leader has. And what Anduba did was to project ideas, was to project vision, was to project challenges, was to project where he wants to take Anambra State to. That is the main issue here. What we have had and what we continue to have in Anambra State are managers. Anambra State is bigger than managers. We need leadership. We need vision. And that is what Anduba has, and that is what he is bringing to the table.
I suppose that explains those references I heard a few times to blowing grammar in quite a dismissive way, seeming quite anti-intellectual, actually.
Well, exactly. You're very correct. This is not about blowing grammar. Our Anambra State, our people, we have the biggest market in West Africa, and we have always had that market going back to the beginning of Nigeria's existence as an independent country.
I didn't really hear.
If you get to Onitsha market, if you get to Nnewi market, and you start blowing grammar, our people will not listen to you. Our people want to know, how are you going to make things happen? How are you going to get from point A to point B?
And I didn't hear so much of that.
And that is what Anduba brings
Can
to
you
the
hear
table.
me, sir? And I didn't hear so much of that by your candidate, Anduba, talking about the economy. His answers about the economy looked a lot like there was no depth and understanding. You say he doesn't talk too much, but a lot of people want a leader that can at least say what he'll do, but he didn't do that. And at some point, I'd like to bring.
No, I'm sorry to disagree with you. He said the things that he wanted to say. He said the things that he wanted to do.
What did he say?
Everything that he said were consistent with his manifesto.
No, but what did he say?
So he's not making up stories.
What did he
He's not
say?
making them up.
What did he say about the
on.
economy? What did he say about the economy of Anambra State? What did he say he will do? If you can tell me, what did he say he will do?
What he said that he will do is that the Anambra State economy has been in the decline. And it has been in the decline since P2B left office. That is one point. Even Soludo himself said, if you cannot measure it, then you cannot solve it. So if you understand that Anambra State is broke and broken, when P2B left office, he left 75 billion naira in cash at the Treasury, Anambra State Treasury. Now, we have, as of September 2020 numbers, we have about 60 billion naira in deficit. That is money that we have borrowed, and that number has to be higher than that because of the cumulative interest that has been happening and the continuing borrowing that is happening. We also have about $116 million in debt. So you have to understand where you are, first of all. Anduba said
Right.
that
If I
given
may.
the state, given the broken state of Anambra State, that the first thing we have to do is to plug the holes. If you plug the holes, then you can build up.
Thank you, Mr.
build up
Abiako.
with the triangular.
If I may come in
Excuse
here.
me?
I said thank you, Mr. Abiako. If I can come in and introduce Senator Victor Ume, former national chairman of APGA. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us. I think I'd like to start where Mr. Obiako left off, referring to Anambra as broken. We also heard the word shattered. Anambra is currently, being served by your party, APGA. So what is your response to that?
My dear, I've been watching with consternation what people have been saying on this program this morning. I listened to my brother, the former governor, Mr. Peter Obi, who has tried to show that since he left office, that Anambra State has not made any progress in governance. That is a blatant lie. Since Mr. Obi handed over to Governor Willie Obiano, Governor Obiano has sustained all the things that are good you can find in a government, from infrastructural development and continuation of those things for P2B was applauded in office, like payment of salaries, pensions, and all that. All those things had been going on as he met the situation. He has not owed anybody. In infrastructural development, Anambra State has witnessed massive infrastructural development. We have 3 flyovers built in Oka here that were not here before. All the roads that P2B flagged off when he was going, Governor Obiano completed 55 of them without abandoning them. And just last Saturday, Governor Obiano commissioned the Anambra State Cargo and Passenger International Airport at Umueri. These are landmark legacy projects undertaken by Governor Obiano. He's also building an international convention center, 13,000 capacity, almost delivered. In community development, Governor Obiano initiated a Choose Your Community project that every community in Anambra State got 40 million naira in tranches of 20 million naira twice for them to build anything of their need or of their choice. Primary health care center, town halls, markets, and all kinds of things, apart from the greater things the governor embarked upon. Very importantly, that Mr. Obi and his co-discussant should take note of, is that Governor Obiano tackled the issue of security. The insecurity in the state when P2B left was palpable. And Obiano came in and tackled it headlong and was able to restore security to this state. For 7.5 years he has been in the saddle, Anambra has been the safest state in Nigeria. If not for this last few weeks of sponsored insecurity in Anambra State because of the forthcoming election.
Okay.
So I don't know how they can talk about governance diminishing.
Okay.
Obi said our candidate yesterday claimed that he implemented APGA manifesto. That is correct. Obi cannot deny that on the day he was sworn in, I was national chairman of APGA. And I came to the days where he was sworn in and presented APGA manifesto to him. He took it from me. I said, Mr. Obi, please implement this well thought out manifesto and its contents and add all that you also have while coming here to serve Anambra.
Senator
Use
Victor,
them, combine them and serve our people.
Senator Victor,
provide quality governance.
Can you hear me,
so
sir?
He cannot deny he didn't. I didn't give him the APGA manifesto.
Okay, Senator Victor, can you hear me? Time is fast spent, really. 2 things. I'd like to ask, in generality, why is it that close to 8 years, or more, 8 years after Governor Peter Obi left, he's still the gold standard for leadership in Anambra State? Everybody in the debate kept on referring to his good works. He said he left some money behind.
Yes.
No, I'd like to ask you. That's one. I'd like to ask you two. If he said he left some money behind that he still used to run Anambra State till date, how much is Governor Obiano leaving behind for the next person to come into Anambra, to lead the state? So, but why is still most importantly the gold standard? Because every of the participants in the debate kept on saying when Peter Obi was there, when Peter Obi was there. And this is 8 years after.
Yeah. Yes. We have always acknowledged that Peter Obi did well as governor of Anambra State when he was a member of ABGA. And we have continued to say it, that we took the state from the abyss when ABGA came into office in 2006. So it was very easy for you to see a clear departure from what obtained in Anambra State and what the type of governance ABGA government provided here through Peter Obi. When there was nothing at all and somebody came and started doing something, of course, people rose to applaud his performance. We agreed. We supported him, and he did his best. And then when his tenure ended, another person came. The narrative we don't want to accept is that when he left, that governance has dropped to the abyss. Is part of his problem, not acknowledging something some other person has done. It cannot remain what he did, that we acknowledge that we are good, that nobody has done any other good thing again. I've just given you a little summary of what Governor Obiano has been able to do in the past 7.5 years. On the issue of money he saved, which he said he left 75 billion in cash and investments, these issues have been debated in the past. Because the day he handed over, he gave me a copy of his assets and liabilities, his handover note. I took a copy from Mr. Obi himself. That 75 billion naira he's continuously referring to are in cash and investments. And he said some of them are provisions he made for about 6,000 workers he recruited. And with about 2 weeks for him to hand over, that 23 billion naira of that money was set aside for paying those 6,000 workers. Governor Obiano took over from him and never retrenched anybody. Mr. Obi has not told the people that ABGA as a party has a character of allowing people they elect into office, in this case governor, to work for the people without fighting for the resources of the state by the stakeholders. That PDP where he has joined now, he is now promoting. He rained a lot of curses on PDP when he was on our fold. They did all kinds of things to destabilize him. We provided support to him to survive all their assaults. We never fought for the state resources with Governor Obi. And that was why he was able to work and save some money before going. That party called PDP, if you give them the chance to come in here, they will congregate again and start fighting over the resources of the state and abandon governance. He's now saying that there's a new PDP. I'm laughing at him. How can he say that there's a new PDP? Only himself and Val Ozibo are new members of the PDP. What has happened to the other members of the PDP? Only two people cannot create a new party. The party has a culture. It has a culture of destruction. Whether others have left and people have come in, they are the same thing. That is why they have not been able to find their rhythm, even up to today. Because the past of that party called PDP will continue to haunt them in the eyes of the Anambra people. Peter Obi joined them in 2014. He sponsored a candidate in 2017. Anambra people rejected them. And ABGA won in the 21 local government areas in the state. All the arguments he's making today, he made them in 2017. And if the people did not accept all that he said in 2017, when he was campaigning for his candidate, Henry Obaze, the people, therefore, know the truth. People knew he was misleading them. He was misleading them with lies. Governor Obiano and Abga have continued to serve our people and are very happy. For somebody who is educated to be there and tell you that a governor that built an international airport of world-class standard has failed, what did he build, Governor Obi? Let him say what landmark structure he put in Anambra State when he was governor. This is the way to make arguments.
Well, I'm sure
You cannot diminish the efforts of your successor, and I hope to bring another person to come and confuse the people. Our people know the truth. They know what they have gotten from Abga government. We have been moving progressively to the high in service.
Senator
That
Ume,
takes
if
me
I
to
could.
something they were talking about again, about our candidate. They
Okay.
said he's arrogant in the debate. He was arrogant in the debate. I don't understand what this is an inferiority complex. When you have a candidate that's brilliant, well-loaded, capable, focused, have a very brilliant manifesto, and he's telling you that he's going to do it, and is referring you to his past record of service, you say he's arrogant. That is inferiority complex because the candidate is too brilliant and capable for them to handle. Are they now telling Nigerians that an intellectual who has performed to the acknowledgement of the world and Nigerians should be left for somebody who has no program, somebody who does not know anything, saying that the man is intellectually arrogant, then we'll go and put a fool as the governor of Anambra State.
Senator Ume,
Somebody
if
who
I
is
can
not
interject
capable of
here.
even expressing himself.
I have to
So we cannot
interject here,
take that
Senator
as a
Ume.
debate.
Well, we
You
don't
know,
have
so
much
they should tell themselves the
time.
truth that they don't have
Senator
somebody who can
Ume,
measure.
if I may, we don't have much time. I'm sorry to keep interrupting you. It's because of time and trying to cover all the points. You have just established your opinion of the, intellectual heft of your candidate, Professor Soludo. But do you feel that he shot himself in the foot somewhat with those ad hominem arguments he was advancing about Andy Uba? It got quite personal, combative. Was that the right tone to strike?
Yes, I think Andy Uba provoked that anger in Soludo. I read him on the This Day newspaper where he said that he made Soludo the governor of Central Bank. He talked about somebody who was consulting for the World Financial Organizations, and he was invited to come home to help his country. Obasanjo invited him. Remember when he came, he started as chief economic advisor, not as governor of Central Bank. He started as chief economic advisor to Obasanjo and his government and became chairman of the National Planning Commission. So from his performance, Obasanjo that he served found him worthy to be governor of Central Bank. Was it for him to be made chief economic advisor to Obasanjo that Andy Uba helped him to know Obasanjo? That is a fraudulent claim. Because the man was brought on by recommendation of very highly placed people in the world financial sector to use this man to help him run Nigeria. And he came and started chief economic advisor, not governor of Central Bank. So because of Obasanjo's confidence in him as chief economic advisor, he decided to send him to the Central Bank of Nigeria to help him reform the financial sector. And that's what he did. How can Andy Uba stay there and tell you that he made him governor of Central Bank? Somebody Obasanjo has known for some years.
Okay.
Before he made him governor of Central
Senator
Bank.
May, I would like a response.
It's a fallacy. Yes.
Senator May, I would like a response by Chibuzo Obiako about all of these things you've said about, Andy Uba here. And you said it was Andy Uba that provoked Soludo to say words including you were a masseuse, you were a shoe shiner, and domestic servants to President Obasanjo, which are unsavory words, all right? Chibuzo Obiako, please come in here. Chibuzo Obiako, Senator May, just hold on a minute. Senator May, hold on a minute. Chibuzo Obiako has a right of reply for this. Chibuzo Obiako, please come in and reply to all of this.
Well, I've been listening to distinguished Senator Chief Victor Ume making the same claims that APGA has always made in Anambra State. These claims are from yesteryears. These are not claims that now need to be made. This is 2021. In just a month plus, we will be in 2022. Why are we still talking about what APOGA did in the past? The same Victor Ume, who was the national chairman of APOGA when Mr. Peter Obi was the governor of Anambra State, the same person that everybody was referring to, he is now asking Peter Obi to say what he did when he was governor. Yet everybody refers to Peter Obi as the gold standard. I believe that was the phrase that was used here. Victor Ume, Senator Victor Ume, was the national chairman of APOGA at that time. He said here this morning that he was the one that handed over APOGA's manifesto to Peter Obi. Yet he is challenging Peter Obi to showcase one thing that he did. That is a counterproductive argument. That is a little bit absurd to me. So I'm not even understanding this. But let us go back to the main issue. The main issue was Soludo's conduct during the debate of yesterday. His conduct was below what his credentials are. His conduct was below what his abilities should be. The fact still remains that he was not provoked. He was asked questions. It is okay to push back on somebody, but you don't go and become belligerent on somebody as if this was a motor park or beer parlor argument. These are the supposed future governors of Anambra State, and this is the state of Nnamdi Azikiwe. This is the state of Chubo Kadibo. This is the state of Chinua Achebe and the rest of them. And we are here talking about that. We need to look forward. We need to step forward. Those were the type of arguments that Anduba was making. And everything that Anduba said came from his manifesto. So these are things that were thought out, that were trashed out and put on paper. And that manifesto is there for anybody to read and to see that these are not arguments that he was making on the fly as he was going forward.
Okay, do we have former Governor Peter Obi with us? Because he has to react to a lot of things. Okay, I hear we're still trying to get across to him. Also, I want to talk about.
Well, if I may conclude, because I was losing my
go ahead,
audio
please.
here.
Go ahead, please.
In the process of Senator Ume's argument, besides the White Elephant projects that Governor Obiano has done in Anambra State, he mentioned the 3 flyovers. Those 3 flyovers started falling off about 3 months after they were commissioned. They are still falling off. They have barricades across those flyovers. Maybe your people can go around and see. Right in front of where we are here in Oka, they have barricades that certain vehicles cannot ply over those flyovers. This airport that they are now touting, this airport was not Governor Willie Obiano's idea. If we will go back, that airport was originally planned going back as far back as when Alhaji Shehu Shagari was the president of Nigeria. In 2007, when Senator Anduba ran for governor for the first time, that was one of his main stories, that he was going to build the airport. At that time, that airport was going to be built in Oba, in Idemili local government. When Ngige came, Ngige also wanted to build that airport. It was actually a combination of Ngige, Peter Obi, and Anduba that said to move this airport from Oba to somewhere in what we call Omambala area. So this was not
thank you so much,
Governor Willie Obiano's idea. It was not. He cannot really take full claim for it.
Thank you so much. If you can hear me, so sorry, because of time, we would like to quickly take, as we wrap up, Governor Peter Obi's views on this. You have a lot to react to. Senator Omer said a lot of things about you that you have to react to. Governor Peter Obi, please.
Well, I don't want to join issues with what has been said by Senator Victor Ume. The only thing I can say is that what he said is in line with the President Abga candidate, his behavior and his character yesterday is what Victor May has shown, and that shows the tradition that Abga is today since I left it. On issue of whether Obiano did well or didn't do well and anything, and I don't recognize whether people do well and everything, I've said in so many campaigns that even when Governor Ngige will not applaud and praise what I did well, I've always maintained consistently that there's roads started by Ngige that are completed. It started where they call Iseke to Oketiti. It stopped us wrong way around Okbo, and I completed it. It started what we call Owerezukala to Ibuku. It stopped at Umuchu, I completed it. It started Idani to Otuocha. It stopped at Okuzu. I didn't take it to Otuocha. It did more to Nobi. I didn't more to Amobia. I can go on and show you. When I took over from Ngige, he was not owing the teachers. Schools were on. Was not owing salary. I paid salary and went on to clear all outstanding backlog of gratuities and pension. Today in Anambra State, gratuities and pension are pending. Today in Anambra State, we are owing over 100 billion naira, which is 59 billion in local domestic debts and $108 million. If you multiply by 500, you could see both of them put together is about 120 billion without anything to show for it. To conclude, we may tell you, I live in Onitsha. Let Governor Obiano come with your cameramen. Let's go out to the street on Onitsha without one security and walk around. And then you know, all these things people go and claim we have certificate, we have this. I said in the beginning, Andy Uba is not looking for a job of lecturer. I don't have anything against what I have against Andy Uba. So what I have against Soludo. They have held post. If you go to the school, the only secondary school that is in Andy Uba's village, Oga Boys, where is Soludo attended school, that school is nothing to write home about. When I was in private sector, I was supporting my own school that I went to, Christ the King College.
Right.
But if you go to the schools that is in Andy Uba's town, where Soludo went to secondary school, you won't see anything there and everything.
Well, Mr.
They have held positions that would have made them, you can't drive to Soludo's village today. From Ibuku to Isuavia, it's impossible to pass through there. You want to go to guys, it's the same thing. That's what I have against them.
Okay.
But questioning Andy Uba, I'm accusing him of this, of that, on a debate, is not, it's uncalled for.
Okay.
I'm not arguing with them. I didn't implement that. If there was an Abga manifesto, my question
Thank you,
is,
Mr.
why
Obey.
didn't they follow it on road construction, on education, on health? When I came, there was no single, in the primary health care, they talked about health
Thank
yesterday.
you, Mr. Obey.
If you look at our health position, you can't.
Well, on that note, we have to round up, and I assure you all, we regret this more than you do. This was the most illuminating conversation.